All right, here's my recap of Waco 70.3. So, to re anchor everyone on where I was at, I started training on June 23rd of this year for a 70.3 Waco Ironman on October 5th. So, I had like 13 weeks to train and get up to that volume. Having never swum before, like I didn't know how to swim at all, couldn't even swim a lap, and I hadn't run in a couple years due to being significantly overweight and my body just not being able to take the pounding. So, as you recall, I used ChatGPT as my coach. So I had ChatGPT program all of my swimming, my biking, my running, and I spent probably 13, 15 hours a week just trying to build up my endurance and tolerance to get ready for the race. And I don't know if Waco is not beginner friendly, but to me, this was not a beginner friendly race at all. For the swim, one, it was blazing hot outside, so there was no wetsuit, which, as a large person with no buoyancy, a wetsuit would have really helped me and been nice, but it was a non-wetsuit swim. Chat had predicted that I would get out of the water in 48 minutes, and I ended up getting out of the water in just over 56 minutes, which was way over what my expected swim target was. But at the same time, I was pretty thankful for not drowning and not DNFing and making it inside the cutoff. I wasn't really bothered by open water swimming. I was used to swimming with like very little visibility. But the thing that got me was, one, in my swim pen, it took like 45, 50 minutes from the start of the race to actually get into the water. So I just stood there. It seemed like forever before I got in the water. And so that really just bothered me and messed with my hydration and nutrition plan. And then when I was in the water, I was never in any kind of space. Like I've always felt like I was crowded, like someone was nipping at my heels, or I was hitting someone with my arm. Someone hit me in the face with their hand on their stroke. Like it was just a very compressed thing. And that really affected my stroke and what I wanted to do. But I got out of the water. I'll show the groupings here, but I was like almost dead last. I think I was like only ahead of 30 men in my age group. I was pretty last, and got onto the bike. Everything went well with the transition. Started passing just tons of people as I started laying down the hammer on the bike. The plan was to do the bike in roughly 2.5 hours, but by this time the heat was super oppressive. I mean, the real feel on the day was like 94 degrees. I can't even imagine what the temperature was on the pavement, but it was an absolutely brutal heat. And so about mile 28, I started to feel the first cramp in my leg. And at mile 28, I had consumed all of the nutrition and all of the liquids that my fueling strategy had called for. So basically, halfway through the race on the bike, I'd already drank all of my liquids because of how hot it was and the temperature it was. And so I ended up having to stop at a lot of aid stations, getting the bottles, chugging the different fluid options to just stay hydrated. Nevertheless, I ended up getting out of the bike in just about 3 hours, which is okay. Again, it was like 30 minutes longer than what Chad had predicted I was going to be able to do. But that's right around average for my age group. And then started the run. And the run, like, again, because I had started later in the swim, I started the run, I think at like 1 p.m. Never in my life have I run a half marathon in the middle of the Texas summer starting at 1 p.m. Like that, I've always lived in hot places. That's a sure sign that you're an idiot and that you're going to die of heat exhaustion. But I got that on the run, and about 1.8 miles in, my right hamstring totally cramped, and like I could barely walk. Like all I could do was hobble. And so I started chugging all sorts of fluids, hydrations, etc. And luckily, I had just got a delivery from Amazon the day before, which was those like salt stick pills. And so I had started taking those salt stick pills every 30 minutes to try to not cramp. And luckily I was carrying like a soft flask in my hands. I'll put those on the picture. And so every mile I was filling up both of my soft flasks at the aid stations, water, Mortal, hydration, and taking these salt pills to continue, running. Luckily my cramp went away and I was able to just slowly start to tick off the miles. And believe it or not, the run is the best discipline that I scored in, at least by terms of rank. I was in like the 70th range, which is like top 40% out of the disciplines, which is not what I was expecting. So, I mean, I guess long story short, like Waco was not beginner friendly at all because of the crazy temperatures, no wetsuit, and other people have talked about like the quality of the bike course and the rough roads. It was not smooth at all. But either way, I got it done. My finishing time was right at 6.5 hours, a little over that, which again was like Chad had predicted I was going to finish around 5.5 hours. So I was about a half hour or about a full hour behind where I was predicted to. So that was my first ever triathlon. Did it in 13 weeks. Now we're on to the road to Houston in the full. But in 10 weeks, I've got another 70.3 in Florida. So I'll create another video here in a second talking about the goals for that one.